The most effective weathering you ever see is almost always that which is done by directly copying a photograph. I know it's quite easy to make up weathering, but usually it ends up looking made up as well. It doesn't ring as true somehow. And as a consequence of this, I find myself looking at through photographs with an eye to good weathering subjects. And when I saw this shot of a Class 47 in the early 1960s, I thought, I've got to do that. Something just so appealing about it, particularly the way it's been cleaned at one end. Maybe they were starting to clean it and it was suddenly summoned back into traffic. I don't know, but I think it makes a hell of a picture. And I thought it'd be good to do something like this in the programme using a Buckman Class 47. Okay, it's got the full yellow front end, but that's neither here nor there. So what I hope we've got is something, if it's not an exact street-by-street copy of our real Class 47, is pretty close to it in spirit, and an absolutely filthy looking locomotive, but also absolutely unique. Now, one thing that may not be immediately obvious is that you want to take the needle out forwards. If you pull it out through the rear of the airbrush, you run the risk of getting paint into the inner workings, whereas if you take the needle out the front by the front exit, that's not going to happen. The chances are there'll be a little bit of paint still accumulating on the needle. You can probably see there how, even though I've cleaned it reasonably thoroughly in the cleaning station, there's still some mucky marks on my kitchen roll. Okay, and I'll just, while we're at it, handrails again, don't know why, but these things always seem to rust. I have half a mind to put a bit of a kink in the handrail, as you often see on the prototype. With the cab handrails, I'm going to use some gunmetal powder. This is slightly shiny. It gives the impression that these handrails are frequently polished by people climbing in and out of the cab. Just the action of grabbing onto them, pulling yourself up, conveys quite a shine. And I'm using the powder for that. And just a little bit now on the brake blocks. I thought it'd be fun to have a go at something in grey, because this livery I particularly like. I love departmental grey and the plain drab ones. And I'd photographed the Nottingley 09 and was thinking of converting this Bachmann 08 into 09201. Then I discovered the boxes on the left-hand side were slightly different. There's going to be a lot more work than I'd anticipated. Just gently touching in. I'm copying areas that I can see in my photograph of this 08. And that, I think, is just about it. Okay, now it gets even curiouser. I've taken a stiff brush, and I'm going to go over each model in turn and brush off the rock salt. And can you see that where the salt was, it acted as a kind of mask and stopped the livery colour getting through. This simulates really rather well the random patches where rust starts to develop on a wagon. It's a lot easier doing it this way than by most painting techniques. And here's the one of the 2mm wagons finished as well, and I think it really does work surprisingly well in this very small scale. Very pleasing, takes no time at all to do, and I've done it in exactly the same way